Yeah, I wanted to ask, what was like the fandom you pissed off the most, and we can share, I guess.
So I would say actually probably Dragon Ball Z.
Really?
But I've never made like a negative video about Dragon Ball Z. Those guys are just mad.
They are mad. They're angry about a lot of things.
Yeah.
They have a lot of anger problems.
Honestly, probably the Bleach fandom, which I mean, fair.
I mean, they're still making Reddit posts in 2022 about why they're still mad. They're all trying to collectively figure it out.
Yeah.
Why are we still mad, guys?
I don't know, but I'm angry.
Let's figure it out, guys.
Yeah.
I think I learned early on when I started doing the whole Sebastian thing. I noticed that like people assumed because I was making videos on it that I understood a lot about the show, but I didn't. And I realized very quickly that people care about the show way more than I ever could. And I am never ever going to attempt to get to their level. I'm just going to be the hee funny videos that don't even try to touch it or the themes. Because they'll do. I remember people can't be like, "Oh, this character wouldn't say this." I'm like, I don't care.
But you see, this is the thing where like I feel like when I started making videos, and definitely like when like you started making videos, Garrett, like you could make a video about Yu Yu Hakusho and it would be the video on Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
Now you have channels that are entirely about One Piece, channels that are entirely about Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, and like it's these guys' whole lives like reading this manga and making content out of it.
Yeah.
And, like fair play to them. Like it gets an interesting way, and there's a lot of good videos that come from that. But I think then the problem is when you try and make a video about it, then there is infinitely more knowledge about it and people who might like know the series more in depth and have more understanding. But then the problem that it comes into then is like a lot of like I guess more casual people are looking for videos where it's kind of it's entertaining, you know,
exactly.
And it comes into this thing where it's like you have an audience that wants a really deep understanding and then you want a bigger audience that just want to be entertained. And I think the disparity between those two can lead to, I would say, like a bit of bitterness with creators. And like I get it to a degree, but it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, one of my most interesting things that like I've noticed with like some of my own content, so a fandom that I've pissed off is the Fate fandom, or I would say the
only guy who talks about it. Why are they mad?
And it was very interesting because like I made like a skit just like basically based around my experiences whenever I would have a conversation about the Fate rabbit hole and just like how like just one sentence could just start an entire war in terms of like watch order and stuff like that. And when I released that video, it was like received very, very positively. Everyone fucking loved it. And then it really started getting spread around. And it started getting spread around outside just the Fate community. And that's when I started to see people not exactly mad about the video, but mad about people's perception because of that video.
That is the exact same thing it was with me. Like I even went on some calls with some Bleach guys, and it always ended at ultimately. I was like, okay, let's hear him out. And it always ended at like, well, I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the people who agree with you. And I was like, oh, okay.
You've upset the council.
Oh my god. Yeah, because it's so interesting now because, like you said back then, because the anime community was much smaller, much more, as I would say, like inclusive. Inclusive is the wrong word, but much more manageable in terms of like what fandoms are what. Now, because there are so many different factions, so many different fandoms, a lot of fans get very protective about this one IP. You know, especially like anime fan doesn't really is like too broad an umbrella now that just didn't exist before. You know, I feel like when you're an anime fan before, that kind of encapsulated so much of the community, and now there are just people who just solely watch One Piece, for example, or solely watch Attack on Titan or the shonens.
I have a fun question. If you were to do the fall of another anime today, which one would you do?
The fall of another anime.
So like an anime that fell off.
The real answer is probably I would not do that because it leads to too much shit.
If you had to.
But in terms of another anime that it's fallen off.
The one that you felt like you kind of fell out of.
Do you think any anime has fallen off?
No, I do not.
Absolutely. I saw John's eye.
Diplomatic answer.
I think all anime is great. Would you like to hear top 10 facts about One Piece?
I like that. I'm just, you're like, man, this sucked. For years they hate me. I'm like, do it again. That was fun.
Honestly, like genuinely, like I can tell you ones that like I fell off One Piece, but that's not because I think One Piece got worse. It's because I got real busy and didn't have time to read. And like, I'm going to catch up with it someday, and I bet it's still
That's
good.
what they all say, John.
Yeah, I mean, I never fall out of One Piece. It just comes in like waves. There's a wave where I read 100 chapters and then I don't read it for 2 years, and I'm like, I forget I'm a One Piece fan sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I read it again. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely a One Piece fan.
Totally.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you're at the point where like even very milquetoast opinions get like these crazy reactions? Like someone will ask me like, what do you think about Demon Slayer? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's all right. And I'll be like, oh.
Why don't you ask Joey about his Jujutsu Kaisen opinion?
I think we did initially, because obviously it was all new, but I think now people are so used to us just saying dumb shit that they just write us off. They're like, oh, God, Joey said it, or Connor said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other day when they announced the title for the new season of Attack on Titan, I quote retweeted and all I said was, this title's really stupid. God, the comments were just like, how fucking dare you? I can't believe you would say that.
How dare you ruin the sanctity of the final season,
right?
part 3, part 2.
You don't even watch anime anymore. You have no opinion on this. And I'm just like, guys, I just thought it was dumb.
But yeah, like, that's why if I don't really like something, I try not to like say my like opinion, even if I just say it's all right. Like even like
you can't even say it's all right anymore.
Even saying like it's all right. It's like fandoms will jump on you for just saying you don't think it's really, really good or really, really great. Right, Joey? Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think one infamous trash taste clip was when Joey said Jujutsu Kaisen was like all right. Or did you use the word mid? I can't remember.
You said mid.
Did you say mid?
Just to piss off the Jujutsu Kaisen fans. Yeah.
Okay, that was the issue.
That was funny.
Was the issue.
I'm at this point now where it's like, you know, I obviously try to avoid, you know, giving any like, I guess, controversial opinions on like certain shows, but at the same time, it's really funny to piss off anime fans.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that I think people are like they hate that.
Yeah, I know, but I love it.
Also, mid is such a lazy criticism of a show.
I agree. I don't like the term mid just because I feel like it is a coward term.
I would rather someone.
I agree.
Say it's shit or say it's awesome.
It's shit, so you have to actually like say an opinion.
Explain why you don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to explain why I don't like a show. It might be fucking stupid is the problem, and people sometimes recognize that of me, and I'm guilty of that.
But I think sometimes, like, especially when people are watching you a lot and people really think they relate to you, they really want to connect with you on whatever they can.
Yeah.
And then it's really disappointing when they can't. Like, I remember it was basically a rite of passage in my Discord for a couple of years for someone new to come in and be like, can't wait for the Why You Should Watch Hero Academia video. And I'd just be like, I don't like that show. And they'd be like, oh. And then like the other Discord members would be like, yeah, we all thought he was going to make it.
Well, it's weird because like, I know the feeling where it's just like, you just want to make content on stuff you like. And you shouldn't, you know, healthily, you shouldn't put your opinions on someone else's opinion. You should kind of like helpfully form your own. But there is a certain sense of satisfaction you get when you watch a creator you respect say that they like a thing that you like. Like when I saw like Charlie finally get into One Piece, I was like, we did it, boys. We did it. We did it. We prevailed. And I knew I shouldn't like have felt that much sense of pride, but I kind of did. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like getting your mate into a show or series you really, really like. Like, have you ever showed a mate like a first episode of something and you're just like intently watching them?
I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore?
I can't do it. It's too much. It's like when you play like music to someone and it's like it's the longest 4 minutes of your life because you're like, yeah, it's good, right? And suddenly it starts to sound worse.
This bit's really good.
Yeah. And suddenly it all starts to sound a little more uncomfortable. and you're like, it just doesn't sound like this when I listen to it alone. It's kind of like that. So I normally I'm like, please watch one episode. If you like it, maybe we watch it together or something.
Totally.
I'm so done forcing people to watch shows.
A 30-second meme suddenly becomes a 3-hour meme
my
when
God.
you're just like, okay, the joke's
what's
coming.
funny is
Build up in this clip that I remember.
Yeah, what's when they ask, how long is this again?
Oh god.
It's 10 minutes. Oh, we're 2 minutes in. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so you started off doing anime content. When did you decide, I want to do some other stuff as well? Or was that like always kind of like something you wanted to do?
So within the first year, I made like a video about Silent Hill 2, which was a big break. And I think if you go back and watch that video, I'm nearly like apologizing in it, where I'm like, guys, I swear to fucking God, I'm going to talk about Mob Psycho 100 soon, and I liked it, and it was fun. Like, I remember views-wise, the video did bad, but I was kind of like, it's kind of fun though, you know?
Yeah.
And then the big one for me is I made a video about pro wrestling, and specifically, I think it was originally called Professional Wrestling is Fascinating, and I changed the name or something. I think it's called Pro Wrestling is Dumb and Beautiful, and I Love It or something. And that was like my favorite video I'd ever made. I was like, this is so much fun, and like I got to tell this big story about Kenny Omega and the Golden Lovers and all this kind of stuff, and that was the moment where I was like, oh, I think I just gotta do what I want here, you know?
Because I remember when, I think it was maybe like the first or maybe even the second time I met with you IRL, and we were in Dublin with Aki, and I remember we were at dinner and you were like, so Joe, I need your opinion on something. I'm making this video about The Simpsons. And I'm really scared to upload it because I feel like my audience is gonna hate it. And you like gave me kind of the breakdown of it, and I was like, no, I reckon you should go for it. And then you did upload it, and now it's like your most viewed video.
Oh, that is my most viewed video still. Until the Garfield video surpasses it, which is going to be any day now, which is deeply fucking horrifying. Stupid cat takes everything from me.
No, I mean, I think
There's
like
8 million views.
Holy fuck.
oh my god.
That's crazy.
That's insane. No, I think because I think one of the reasons I fucking love your content, as a fan and also as a mate, is just like your ability to sell me on any single fucking topic at all and get me invested in it.
Absolutely.
I'll be real with you. I never had any interest in wrestling, and after your video, I still have not much interest in wrestling, but it was like you got me invested in wrestling when I should never have gotten invested in wrestling in the first place.
I feel like it is, from my own experience as well, from making a wrestling video, it is really hard to sell wrestling to people who do not have any interest in wrestling. I don't know why. It was something that my audience, I've never seen the response to it. It wasn't negative, but it was just very unusual. I've never had anything like that.
If you turn on wrestling, if you turn on the average wrestling show, you're going to see two sweaty guys in a ring, and the actual storytelling is not apparent. Like the actual cool things about it, and then like the deeper you get into it and all the great, like I would say getting Michelle into wrestling was a long-term project with me for a long time. And about 2 years ago, she said something that I was just like, I did it. She just goes, there's this wrestler called Bryan Danielson, but when he went to the WWE, Vince McMahon changed his name to Daniel Bryan. And Michelle just goes, what is wrong with Vince McMahon? And I was like, I got her. Bring back the old name.